Right.
All right. Technical issues aside, we are live.
No
Good morning.
technical issues today, Michael.
All right. Look at that. The
How
world
about
is shining
that?
upon us.
How are you, buddy?
Good, man. Good morning.
Good to
Just
see you.
just getting back in town again here, so ready to get
Just
back at it.
join us. Just sharing to my page.
Join us.
Join the convo. Share now.
Sharing also. All right, here we go. Cool.
And now I'm going to make sure that it's there. What do you know? There we are.
Cool. Is this number 27?
27,
We
man.
passed our quarter mark. Wow, that's pretty awesome.
How awesome is that, man?
Setting goals and lining them up and knocking them down.
We're going to do 100 episodes of this podcast, and that's just the warm up.
That's just the warm up.
Yep. And then we're going to keep on going, and it's going to
By
grow.
then, we'll
grow,
hopefully
grow.
figure out how to do it.
So let's just touch on that for one quick second. So you and I are still okay. So we started this podcast heading into the busiest part of the
Yeah,
entire
perfect time to
year.
start it, right? Not
Yep.
at the end of the year or when we have time, but we just said we're going to make it happen. We've been
Yep.
talking about it. Let's do it.
Yep. And not only that, unlike a lot of other podcasts, we are live streaming our episodes every week, so they have to go at the same day and the same time.
Right.
Which I say when we're doing it 2 days later than we're supposed to.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not Tuesday anymore. So hello, Thursday. But hey, we're here. We're making it happen.
Yeah, and also we are, because we're in the busiest part of the year and have been for months, and because we have to do this at the same day and time every week, to your point about having to figure out all the technical side of this, we are still trying to settle into properly promoting and marketing and recapping and doing clips and all that kind of stuff. But I'm excited that through all of that, we never said to ourselves, you know what, it's just too busy. It's just too crazy. Let's just table this for a while and come back to it in winter or something like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we've been doing pretty good. I was thinking of that today. I came in, so obviously we had to move it from Tuesday to Thursday because I was out of town. Came home, got in here, and everything wasn't set up like it should have been. I had to run around, get it set up, and for like 2 seconds, I was like, man, we should just not do this today. But then you get it going, and here we are, and it's always worth it. So it's like those little moments of doubt creep in, whether it's a big goal, a little goal, or whatever. But just keep on keeping on, and we're gonna get there.
Yep. And 73 more episodes to go to hit our first milestone.
First milestone.
We're going to have to do some fun, like really fun, big party for the 100th episode.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay,
Yeah.
we have to schedule that out. I didn't even know it'd be like
Oh, yeah.
we'll figure it out if we can do math quickly. We'll
Well,
have to-
73 weeks from now, right?
So-
So a year
so-
and 21 weeks. So that's a year and 5 months from now. So August, September, October, November, December. So yeah, it'd be like January of 28. That'll be perfect.
That is insane just to hear the year 2028.
I think what's insane is how quickly I was able to do the math to figure out what month our 100th episode would be in. How was that?
That was pretty good. I'm impressed. You didn't have Chat GPT do it for you. I would have to, carry the one. How many days in a minute divided by weeks in a year? Not gonna happen.
Mike, I like your Van Gogh T-shirt.
Oh yeah, so it's a Van Gogh Port Austin T-shirt.
Nice. Oh,
So
speaking of which,
that's where I was just at.
yeah, why did we have to do our episode on Thursday this week, Mike?
Yeah, so I was out of town, did an awesome daddy-daughter camp trip. So it's a tradition we started with my daughter. She's now 12. So hi, Rosie, if you're out there listening. And another buddy of mine and his daughter. So they're great friends. We're good friends. Every year we decided, hey, we're going to start this little tradition, go hang out as these gals start to grow, spend as much time with them as we can. And we just pick a new spot around Michigan and, head to the wilderness. We did some horseback riding. We did hours of kayaking. It was super cool. So we went to Port Austin. If you're a Michigander, it's the tip of the thumb, boink. And you can see the sunrise and sunset from there, which is a cool fact. So we did some kayaking to Turnip Rock, which is a super cool sandstone rock formation, just kind of jetting out of the water. A lot of cool topography up there. Beautiful weather, perfect week or weekend or midweek end, whatever you want to call it. So it was great. So thanks for moving it. Appreciate it. But it's always one of my favorite times just to get to spend time because, as you know, if you have multiple kids, getting time with one of them is a challenge often. So we make sure we carve out time to do that throughout the week. But then a bigger trip like this also.
I
So
love it.
ton
I
of
love
fun.
it. I love it. And how old is Rosie?
She's 12 now, 12 and a half, right?
12 and a half. And she's your oldest.
Oldest, right?
Yeah. My oldest, Emma, is 25.
Crazy.
Yeah. And I actually get to spend this weekend with her, but in a work capacity. So my
Super
band,
cool.
yeah, we're doing a wedding on Mackinac Island.
Awesome.
but not-
Also, an epic Michigan location.
Epic Michigan location, yes, pure Michigan.
Pure
But
Michigan,
not
and-
just on Mackinac Island. It's at a place called the Inn at Stonecliff, which is like 40 minutes by horse-drawn carriage inland, and we have an 11-piece band. So as you can imagine, the logistics
It's-
of this one.
Like Oregon Trail, like, don't break any wagon wheels or get dysentery along the way because you might not make it.
I'm not confident everybody's going to make it alive to the.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we're going to say we only have a 2-piece horn section because we lost the trombone player about halfway out here. But anyway, Emma's going to join my daughter, and she's going to do photography for us this weekend and
Super
social
cool.
content. Yeah, so I mean, yes, it's kind of work, but we're also going to have fun. Go up
Yeah,
pretty
you get to
early
hang
and-
out. That's great. It's a super beautiful spot to do it too. So you guys, I would imagine, get in really early the day before, right? Or how's that work? Because that's a ton of logistics just to get things on a boat, off a boat, onto a cart, down the street, onto a horse, and across an island where you can only take horses. So
Yes.
that is a day and a half journey almost, right? A full
Yep.
day journey.
Well, we've been spending weeks working with the planner, the client, and the venue to map out every little logistical detail. And yeah, we're going to send the crew up the day before with all of the PA and the instruments and all that.
Gotcha.
They'll go across. I'm going to be up there on Friday with Emma just to make sure that I'm, in the area should the need arise for
Right.
for me to do anything. And then the band members will come up Saturday morning. We have we've chartered a carriage, horse-drawn carriage for them to all come across and at the same time to the inn, and we'll be
Cool.
hopefully ready to go. But the client's awesome, the venue's great, and so I'm looking forward to once the logistics of it have been handled, to having a really, really great, awesome, fun wedding. So
Super cool.
yeah. So when you and I did our last episode, we were talking about with our boy Mr. Nicholas Hardy.
Yeah. Shout out
About-
to Nicholas.
Yeah, one of the OG event guys. But we were talking about AI and how we use it as event props, and we're going to continue that series.
Right.
And next week, we have our friend Kate McClellan from the Planning Collective, who is going to be joining us to talk about a tool she has created, an AI tool that helps her clients plan their weddings.
Pretty cool.
So it's going to be a really cool angle. But this week, today is Thursday, August.
So we're
the
mixing it up
27th.
totally, right? Yeah, not
Yes.
Tuesday. It's now Thursday. Not our normal topic.
No.
But
So I hired you. Right now we are partners, and most of the time we are.
right.
But this week Derek and
Was the
E3
boss.
Detroit. No. I was the client. I hired Mike and Killer Creations to shoot a promo video.
yeah,
and-
it was so fun.
It was amazing. And the premise was one of my very close musician friends and I have been talking for a while about wanting to create something cool and fun. And a little bit of backstory on this. When I created E3 Detroit as a provider of music-based entertainment for events, live bands, DJs, and everything in between,
Right.
the goal was not to be, and not just the goal, the requirement was never to be an agency, meaning just a middleman who has no vested interest
Right,
whatsoever in
schlepping
the
out a
acts
product
and,
randomly.
yeah, and just taking our cut and passing it on. We have acts in house that we've created. We have acts that we've partnered with that we manage and promote and coach and develop. And so that's what makes this kind of fun, is that we have a true vested interest in all of the acts, and we have a much deeper relationship with our artists, with our clients, and it
Right.
makes it way better for what I think. That's what our competitive advantage is.
Totally.
That said, this musician colleague and I have been talking about wanting to create something cool, which will then be used to create opportunities to work together and make money, right?
Yep.
The idea we came up with, he's an incredibly awesome piano player, an accomplished composer, writer, and piano player in town here, and actually around the country. We came up with this idea for at its core, a jazz group, but so many gigs have a jazz trio, just
Right,
a
yeah.
jazz trio. And I mean, you don't know what instruments they are, you don't know what music they're playing. They're just a jazz trio.
Right,
There's
and they just show
nothing-
up and
yeah,
surprise you.
yeah, and there's nothing about one over the other that necessarily stands out. We thought we know what we have. We have musicians that are like the absolute best of the best, and we're in Detroit where there's this vibe, right?
Yeah.
Let's create a jazz, a fusion funk jazz type group that not only sounds amazing but also looks amazing and plays music that is memorable and fun. That
Right.
creates an experience.
It's all about the experience, right?
It is. It is all about the experience.
That's how you remember things.
Yep. So we had that idea, and we thought, all right, but we could create it. But then when I start to sell it, I'm still just saying words like what I just said.
Right.
They're better. They're awesome. They play really, really great. They're unique.
Right.
And guess what? Every other jazz group or provider of music entertainment says the exact same thing.
True.
So that led me to you. I came to you and I said, Mike, I need you to create a promo video for this group that proves the concept, that not only people that watch it can see, oh my gosh, that's amazing, that is something different in what I want. But I
Right.
need to use this video to create opportunities that I didn't even know were out there by pushing this video out.
Super cool. Yeah.
So that's the premise I came to you with. And that got me to thinking this week that let's talk about what you do, promo video. Now predominantly you're working with brides and grooms and corporate clients, but now we're talking about you working with your colleagues, with people like me,
Yeah.
or who we hope are watching this, other event professionals.
Right.
And so we thought, okay, let's talk about the importance of creating and using promo video to sell our services and why it is truly the thing that can set you apart from your competitors.
Yeah, I think it's a huge piece of the puzzle. A lot of people miss, and even us as a company too. So Killer Creations is like guilty of this because we're always telling other people's stories, and we're running so fast on that treadmill. It's hard to turn around and stop and say, "Hey, we need to tell our story." So we do have some show reels and things like that, but not necessarily a full blown, documentary story of who we are, what we do, why we do it. So that's something we always are talking about. Don't always find the margin to do so, but we do it for people like you and other companies as well to kind of show off how awesome you guys are at what you do and what's different, right? Your unique position, your unique selling opportunity. Like you said, this video is meant to create opportunities. Once people see it, ideally they'll say, this is different than other people are doing, or this is really cool. So it'll open some new doors for you. And a lot of people don't have that, whether they're, bands, DJs, venues, whatever it might be. They're just, like you said, kind of giving them these superlatives to say, yeah, boom, get after it. There you go, representing. We're better, we're faster, we're more experienced, we're this, so everyone's saying those same buzzwords. And at a certain point, if you're a couple, if you're a client, you're like, yeah, great. Well, that guy said it, this guy said it, that guy said it, she said it, they said it. Where do we go from here?
Yeah. Now, if you are an event prof colleague, I would really love it if you would chime into the comments today and talk to us about what you do. Do you have high quality, current, awesome promo video to showcase you, your product, and your services? And if not, is it something you are wanting to do? Are you, do you not think it's necessary? And I want to hear from everybody.
Right.
And so, Mike, if it's okay with you, I wanted to do two different segments here. One where we talk about this video that we just did together, because I want to break down how we get from idea to
Right.
deliverable.
Cool.
And then after that, I wanted to talk to you about kind of put you on the spot and just go through some of the different types
Great.
of
You
event
know I love
profs.
that.
Yeah. But some of the different type of event prof companies that are out there and what you would how you would tell their story.
Okay.
Because everybody's going to be different. Like a
Right,
planner
yeah.
versus a band versus
Totally.
a florist versus a caterer. Those are all going to be different videos, right?
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, let's start with what we did this week. So I came to you and I had a couple of references of inspiration, different videos I'd seen or different services that
Right.
are out there that I said this is kind of this is in the ballpark of.
Here's a band on a mountaintop. Here's a band on a beach. Here's a band. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. But we're in downtown Detroit.
But we're in. No, it was great. That was a good, I oftentimes will have people look at our body of work or something else that they saw. They're like, hey, spoke to me, piqued my interest. Can we do something similar, but that is about us? That's different. That's, a little more unique, but like uses some of these vibes. So
Yeah.
absolutely. So
So I know my act. I know this group that my partner and I put together, and I know why I know like the style of music that they're going to be playing, the way in which they're going to perform it. That's head and shoulders above anybody else that would provide a group like this. I
right.
know that. I know the kind of effect they can leave upon an audience, where people will stop, turn their head, and notice these people, and walk away from that event thinking that was amazing versus just knowing that there was music in the background, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
needed to convey that. So tell me, like, what are the questions that you ask, or how do you get through the process of determining, well, how do we shoot this video for them, and like what's the like how do you script it, what just walk us through, like, how does that work?
Yeah, so I mean, usually if you come to us, you had a great vision already, so we kind of helped sculpt that and push it, in the right direction, using lighting and then various cuts and different camera angles and all that fun stuff. But if somebody out of the blue comes, they're like, "Hey, this is what we want to do." We try and get in their head a little bit to figure out what their actual message is, right? So what are they trying to say, and to whom are they saying it? A lot of times people may just say, we want a cool video, right? We want to look awesome. That's great. We could do that. That's really easy to do. But then it's not going to perform if it's just a cool video without a purpose, right? You need to have a purpose, a message. What are you trying to say? Who are you trying to say it to? So those are the main things. And then who are the characters in that film, right? And then the specific people you're talking to. So once we have an idea of that, whether it's you as the business owner, right? Or, maybe you're taking like if we're taking a band, for example, is it going to be you as the main character? Is it going to be a different client that you already shot as the main character telling about this experience? Are we going to weave those things together? What's the length? Where is it going? So all of these are little questions we'll fish out, because sometimes people literally have no idea what they want. They just know we need a video and we need it now and we need to show off what we do. And then if they have no idea, then we just kind of help them figure it out themselves. We become the guide, right? We become the Zen master
The Sherpa?
to lead them down their own path. So once we know who they're saying it to, then we're going to figure out, all right, are we going to craft this thing, from the beginning to end, or are we going to just kind of shoot what we need to shoot and then go backwards? Like a wedding, for example, you know what you need, but you're shooting everything and then you're assembling the story. For a video like this, or some of the ones we've done that are more promotional focused, you almost have your shot list and your script and everything ready, and you know what you're looking at ahead of time. So then you come to the editing portion of this process, and you're just putting things where they go, and then you can get creative and go on top of that and change some things up. But that's the flow. So I don't know if I just talked in circles for 5 minutes there, if that makes any sense.
It was more like 3.5 minutes. So
Didn't make sense though.
going into a video like this, okay, so in my case, we provide live music, but you maybe would be talking to a caterer or a planner,
Right.
and we're going to get to all of them. But as the person who is producing the video, how much is your focus, and this is also for the me's of the world, the clients of the world that are coming to
me's.
you, how much should the focus be on the subject matter? In my case, this group, in somebody else's case, a spread of food or whatever. And how much should the focus of the shoot be on the end viewer of the video? Like, how do you approach? Do you try to ask yourself, like, let's get in the mind of this person and let's script shots based on how what would be the most engaging to them? Or do you say, what's right in front of me and how do I best make sure that it is, completely shown and featured?
Yeah, I guess it's a kind of hybrid of those two. So for this one, right, we're calling it a promo video, but I'm almost took the mindset of making it more of a music video, right? So if you're watching a promo video, you feel like, okay, they're selling me this thing, and oh, cool, get in touch now, great, perfect, got that. But this is more of a music video. So imagine, the olden days when we'd watch music videos, and you'd get that feeling just hearing the song, seeing the band do what they do, and you'd kind of enter their world a little bit. So that's kind of the lens we decided to approach this shoot with, was creating something that's a little more visually appealing, so that when you are the viewer, you get that vibe, right? Because these people are, cream of the crop, tip of the top kind of thing, and it was really fun to shoot, super cool, and the song's still stuck in my head. But you know, you don't want to let them down because they're killing it in their music. Obviously, you're a great friend, but we want to make them look even cooler than they already are, right? Which is hard to do with a group of musicians that are as awesome as they are. So that's what we were trying to do is really, you know, take them, make them look amazing, make it still a pitch piece like that creates opportunities, but that has that music video mindset. So like as the viewer, you're gonna feel something different because that's the whole goal when they're live, like you just said. You know, there's a couple kinds of bands. One that makes mistakes and you hear it and you go, oh, you look up and it irks the room, right? And you look and it's, ooh, sour note. Another one is where they're like just good enough where they're not even noticed. You just think it's like, that's probably a radio playing or whatever, right? Like if you're in the other side of the room and you just kind of tune it out. But then there's the next level of band or music or whatever it is that you're just like, holy cow, the groove, the beat, the vibe, every bit of it is in sync and you can't do anything but listen to them. And that's where these guys are at, and that's what we're trying to pull out through that visual imagery.
Yeah. Okay. Let's dive deeper into that for a minute, into like how these videos, you know, actually get made. And again, if you're watching and you're an event prof, do you have good promo video of your product or service or yourself? How, you know, what was your focus when you made it? How old is it? I'd love to hear from everybody who's watching out there. So before you got there to the venue, and I love the place that I had picked to shoot this video. It was a spot in Detroit that I'm a big fan of, and it has
it was visuals really cool.
But did you bring every camera and lens and figure it out when you got there? Is that something you decided ahead of time, or like I'm going to shoot it this way? Did you know how much time did you have a schedule that you knew you would be sticking to? And then also, and you kind of touched on this a minute ago, but what's the difference between like taking footage and telling a story? You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
yeah.
so let's start at the top. What decisions, like, what do you do before you get there that day to make sure that you're prepared, you know, to get this thing, to nail it?
Yeah, so let's take a step back. So in the early days when I would shoot stuff like this years and years ago, you'd kind of just show up and shoot everything and be like, all right, we got some great footage. Let's puzzle piece it together on the back end and hope it looks cool, right? So, you know, there's certain events that happen, live events. You just kind of shoot whatever and things happen and you don't know what's going to, you know, necessarily happen. A wedding, for example, and then you carve a story out of that backwards. With this one, we literally created the story ahead of time. So we do bring extra cameras, but we had our shots already set. We knew we were going to have a wide, full establishing shot or master shot for the whole band. Then we were going to have a couple angles and different focal lengths for each musician. So it's 35, so we can get some cool, you know, kind of in-your-face, really close-up stuff, and then a long lens to get just like really little details. So we knew exactly what our shots were going to be, even though we didn't know what every musician looked like. We knew, okay, we know what the instruments are. This is how we can generally shoot them. You had sent the song over also, so we'd listen to it countless times ahead of time to say, okay, at this transition, we're going to do a whip pan here, and then it's going to come back, and then it goes to the trumpet there, so bam. And then so basically we're scripting everything out ahead of time.
So some of those shots you just mentioned, like where you're like, okay, we're going to go from the trumpet to the drums and the drums to the keys. Like, so some of those things were decisions that you were thinking about prior to being on site that day?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, if the further ahead of, you know, the shoot you have all the details, the more, you know, pre-production and creativity you can put into it. But we just hearing the sound, you know, it wasn't like weeks and weeks for you guys, but we had the concept, right? So me and my team sat down and we said, okay, we want this cool kind of, you know, this style lighting, a little more of a moody vibe because it's a cooler group, right? We want to make them look awesome. So we're going to light in this style, which is like not film noir, but like very like shadowy and mysterious almost. So we got some cool lighting there. So we talked about the lighting style. As we got closer, we got the music. Okay, now we know what the song's going to be like. This is how we're going to do our cuts and the energy and the pacing for the various cuts. So it's basically, in a film like this, it's mostly pre-production. And then once you get to the editing room, you're putting all those pieces together. You created piece A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and you have a couple takes for each of those. And you're going to take the best take and put them in there. And then once it's like blocked in, then you get to be creative and do some cool transitions and little things like that.
Nice. Okay. If you, this could be a tough question to answer, but for anybody who's watching who, who thinks maybe that they need, like they're hearing this and they're going, oh man, I need to get some video, some good high quality video. What things are a waste of time and money? Like where is the money and time and effort and resources best put into this? Meaning, is there like, would there be things that other videographers would try to upsell to people that you can like kind of take us, pull the curtain back and say, here's where you should focus. This is what, like what should somebody like me or another, event prof who's going to go to a videographer, what should they be asking them for from them?
Ooh, that's a good question. So, I mean, it would all be a waste of money if you don't use it after the fact, right? We've done shoots and things like this for people, and then they like literally never get them up on their site or on their socials or anything. And it's like, that's the definition of a waste of money, right? You have us come in, we do all this pre-production, you spend an investment to have us build these awesome films, and then you don't even get them up, So that, number one, don't do that if you're if you're the customer. Get them up, show them off, unless you hate them or whatever, and then
Yeah.
that's a different story.
Is there a length of time that you recommend most people, create a video like this to
Yeah,
command
so
attention?
there's a couple lengths, right? And then these days, everybody's attention spans, I think, are getting shorter thanks to the old mind control boxes and stuff. But like we recommend a couple lengths depending on what you guys are doing. So like, apart from this, let's take like more of a corporate client that has, like a manufacturing, right? Like they have a bunch of different people that need to see what they do. So they have to answer. I always ask, what questions do your customers or potential customers ask you the most, right? Like, what are the top 5? And how can we answer those directly? So when they see this video, they already have those, foo-foo questions out of the way, and they're ready to kind of get to that sales process next. So that would be like the longer video. I always call it like a flagship video, which is maybe 3 to 5 minutes in that industry because it's a little bit longer. It shows what they do, a little bit about their history, their legacy, all of the things they've created, the huge international partners, blah, 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 all that. So that's like the big one. And that might even be the last one people see. And then you have maybe a minute, minute and a half, and then the shorter ones that are that 30-second. Even now, people are doing 15-second little teaser stuff for it. And they're little breadcrumbs, I call it. So you see this one, and that's really cool. That's interesting. And then this is a whole nother topic, but they see that. They might not watch it all or click or not do the call to action if you're advertising with it. Then you have a retargeting video that can be, through whatever advertising thing you're doing, is the next one. And that one's a little bit longer. That explains a little bit more. And if they get from there, now they're maybe going to your website finally, and they're going to see that full breakdown. So those are generally the lengths we make them in for things like that. So, the short little snippets, I'd say anywhere from like Instagram, 10 to 20 seconds, sometimes 30 seconds for videos. Too long for people to pay attention to. So that's step 1. Step 2 is maybe double that to a minute and a half, and then that 3 to 5 for a full deep dive.
Okay. And we're going to come back to that when we start talking about like using it on social and all that kind of stuff, and one piece of pillar content and breaking it down from there. But let's do kind of a rapid fire segment here for a minute where I'm going to name off
Pew, pew, pew.
pew pew pew. I'm going to name off some different types of event professionals or different types of
boy.
services in the industry, and then you try as as much rapid fire response as you can. Describe the type of video.
I haven't had enough coffee yet to do this.
You can do it.
You can do it.
You describe the type of video that you think would be most effective for that particular kind of business or service.
Okie dokie.
So you're gonna pitch me on a video for each one of these.
All right, how long do I get a pitch for each one of these? So elevator pitch, what do you get, a minute?
Yeah, because we're gonna hit a handful of different types of them. So I don't want to hear the whole video. I just want to hear you describe, how would you best feature? Let's start with this: caterers. Describe a video that best, because it's going to be different than the one you did for us, for a band, right? Caterer comes to you and says, I make amazing food. My food tastes better than my competitors. My presentation is better than my competitors. My staff is friendlier and more engaging than my competitors. All my competitors say the same thing.
Yay.
How do I make a video that proves all of that and get someone excited to want to come taste my food or feel like they're tasting it by watching the video. How do you make that video?
Man, okay. So the clock's ticking. So I would say this is a perfect example of those 3 shots. So like the one, I'll jump back, pause the timer. The one we're doing for you guys is a minute and a half ish, right?
90
The song's
seconds,
90
yep.
seconds, because that's the length of the song. So we're cutting that up. But from there, it's easy. Bless you.
Thank you.
It's easy to cut that down into small little sections where each musician kind of rips off a solo, right? And you can use those as the smaller breadcrumbs, 10, 15 seconds to show it off. So you can still do that for that. For this one, jumping back to the caterer, I think it'd be a huge advantage to have a number of those different sections. So you have a longer one that shows maybe some client testimonials. It shows the event in action at a really cool venue that, you know, is a super distinguished spot where, you know, everybody loves to celebrate the top of the top, right? So you want to show the visuals that match those buzzwords that they have. So, you know, if it's like they're showing off their food and then it's just like maybe a little kind of smaller office party, that's not going for the vibe that they're saying that they're this luxury caterer that does these amazing events, right? So you have to pair those visuals with what they're actually looking at. And then so I would say that's, you know, first step. And a couple little things that come to mind are obviously some beauty shots of the food, people enjoying the food. You could have on that longer video a little testimonial or 2. They can be done really cheesily, but if you have them in a fun way. So here's also the thing too, like what's the vibe of the caterer, like the personality. Do they want their personality out, or is it a brand personality too? So that's different. Where you and I kind of have, it's a personal brand, right? Almost where it's Derek. You know what you're getting. You know who it is. You know the feel. You know the style. I don't know, like another company out there. You know, a huge one. We'll just say Nike. You don't know who's involved in that. It's just that whole brand, right? So that's another bridge we'd have to cross. And I feel like I'm doing a horrible job here because I just got.
No,
Too long.
It's rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
So okay, I have questions. What do you feel would it be important to showcase in the kitchen, like how
I think
they,
showing the
how they
process a
make
little
that,
bit.
their food,
Yeah,
you know,
so
the ingredients then go into or something like
beginning, middle, end of the story, right? So you can start showing the final product, a really cool venue, people enjoying it, dressed to the nines. You know, maybe let's say it's downtown Detroit, a couple really cool iconic shots of the city, boom, and then you jump back to food being made from scratch, some really cool macro shots, some really cool close-up stuff. We had a chance to work on a whole TV series, one whole season worth of episodes that dealt with food and preparation, all the way from farming to being prepared by chefs to being enjoyed by people. So kind of all of those 3 things. So maybe the ingredients themselves, interacting with the chef or whoever's preparing it, being stylized on the plate, looking beautiful, and then being enjoyed by that luxurious crowd of, you know, guests.
Yeah.
So that could be the shorter little version of it, but I think you need to show the product off, but then you weave in your message in there too, whether it's a voiceover, an interview, or even just text for some of the smaller things to set apart what you do from what other people do.
Yeah.
And I think just having a video that is produced well does that versus, you know, only cell phone stuff. So cell phone stuff has its place, right? You can get it out, you can do it quick, you can do it regularly. But if you have this, like if we just had a luxurious brand of photography and videography and only showed cell phone photos of us working and cell phone video of behind the scenes and didn't have any polished work up there or final videos, probably not believable, right? So I think both of those have a place, right? Because now the cell phone stuff and all of those smaller, easily accessible videos show a little bit more of the personality and the behind the scenes, but they don't show the polished product.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Speaking of showing off the personality and the person behind the brand, let's talk about planners, wedding and event planners. A planner comes to you and says, my competitors are young people who don't, you know, haven't been in the industry for 25 years, and they have a canned timeline that they fill in for their clients, and they call themselves a wedding planner. And
Right.
I approach it differently. I establish a different type of relationship with my clients to get to know what is unique about them. I also have deeper, longer lasting relationships with every vendor in this town, so I have a better Rolodex. Um, and I have a personality that is built for running an event on site in the moment. The problem is everyone says the same thing. I need a video that somebody could watch that makes them want to work with me. So that's
Yeah.
different than the caterer. So how do you tell their story to achieve that goal?
Yeah, so this one, I think it's interesting because a planner has a unique position because they're like, I think we talked about earlier, they're almost invisible by design, right? You don't want to see the planner stepping up to do crazy things on the wedding day because it should already be seamless and going. And when they're doing it, they're fixing it behind the scenes. So the only big bump in the road, whether it's good or bad, you would notice is really if it's a bad one, right? Like, oh, this thing happened and that's how I noticed that they didn't do their job or whatever, right? Same thing for music or for video, right? You're listening and it's good, right? So, but then all of a sudden, a string breaks on the guitar, you drop a microphone. That's a huge, oops, I noticed something didn't go right. And you really only, I think, maybe most people only notice when things don't go right for a planner, right? Because they're
Right.
just expecting it to go perfect
If you do
no
your
matter
job
what.
perfect, nobody sees you, right?
Right. So I think a little bit about that. They could talk about, I would say this one, if they're really selling their personality and they're different than whoever it is, just having a video is going to get them in front of the camera. And a lot of people always say, well, I hate being in front of camera. I'm nervous in front of camera. I don't necessarily love it either, but here I am. So we've spent years coaching people, helping people, whether it's to look their best through photo or video, in the fashiony world or wedding world, or just kind of getting people who own businesses to shine their brightest. So we're going to help them, coach them, do some interview stuff, and then kind of make it very seamless and easy. It's the same thing for us, right? So jumping off, like we want them to feel comfortable. The whole process is easy, it's chill, so that they can have a good experience, not just a great video. So that good experience brings an even greater video. So with the planner, I think it's all about personality, right? So showing a lot of what they do. Even, this could be a cool, I'll just go off on a creative tangent, like a fun little, almost like, live documentary style TV series, right? Where you're following them for a little bit of a day or a couple days to show some of the different things they're doing and what they have to encounter and how they easily overcome it with no issue at all. And then you want all those beauty shots too for these videos, whether it's a wedding, a corporate event, you're showing the space, meticulously put together. So that is the proof of concept from their beginning to end. So
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of cool to follow a planner from beginning to end, almost like, documentary live, TV style where it's just like a camera following them around a day in the life of, and then you cut to show the triumphs and the overcome or the little challenges. That will set you apart because some people fall apart during pressure, and a planner cannot do that, right? A good planner should not do that. I've seen planners do it regularly or kind of bark orders, but if someone's good at their job, you can maintain calm and get through stress, no problem. Deal with it afterwards, vent with your friends, at at a meeting, but in front of the client, in front of all the guests, you're maintaining calm and showing that, I think, is a great way to do it. So that's my little video.
I just had some ideas as you were describing all that. Like if I was on your team as a producer or whatever, like if a planner wants to stand out, like the two things I was just thinking of, as you were describing that, is one, having shots, throughout the day of like we talk about like the lens you have and I have right now. We're sharp, but everything behind us is blurry, right? So shots of the planner doing what they do, fixing and setting displays and tables and areas, talking with vendors and
Right.
just showing that. But in the background of that shot, you see the couple, the bride and groom, the client, whoever, having a great time over there, not seeing the planner who's in focus doing their thing.
Doing their thing.
Essentially telling the story of, I'm working right now to make sure everything is perfect, and you're watching this, if you're watching this video, and you can see how the client doesn't even know I'm doing it, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm so good at it. You know what
There
I
you
mean?
go. You're hired. I'm going to ask you the next one then.
Okay. But then here's the other one is, I think for a planner, what I'm hearing from you is the best video would be one where they're not necessarily talking to the camera, like interview style like this as much. And it is more the camera is just an invisible fly on the wall, capturing how they create magic throughout the day.
Yeah, I think that'd be. There's a million ways you can do this, and every person you sit down and talk with might give you a different style or vibe. Like you sent over some inspirational ideas, and I thought this was really cool. We could do something like that. So, this might not be for every planner, but it might be a great way to do it. And I think showing the chaos and the calm amongst the storm could be a really fun way to show that, hey, I got this.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, this next one, I'm going to put two together, and I guess sometimes they're the same thing. A florist or floral designer, and then like an event designer. The people who design the visuals and the tablescapes and the decor that's hanging and stuff
Right.
like that. So, my first gut thought was, well, if you have amazing pictures of finished work, doesn't that just do the trick? What would a video do that pictures can't for somebody who provides something that is essentially entirely visual? What's the story you would tell for that person?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So let's say, I don't know. I'd say floral designer and floral pretty similar. Right when I heard you say florist, I thought of a cool, like, quick little high energy edit, almost like think of any perfume ad you've ever seen, where it's kind of abstract. It shows a lot of beauty. It shows a lot of cool little shots that almost have nothing to do with the cologne or the perfume themselves. Just the lifestyle and the feel that they want you to experience when you wear this little spritzy water stuff, right? So something like that could be really cool for a florist if that's their brand, right? If it's, hey, we do a lot of barn events, that's not going to fit for that. Hey, we do a lot of really cool things and these awesome high-end, event venues. That's what I would think for that. It'd be kind of cool to do, almost like more of a modeled style shoot and a small little tagline or a little bit of information there. That was what popped up for me. So a shorter video that's real punchy could always be paired with something longer, but that very stylized, I guess it could work for the designer too, approach to show off all of the beauty that they're creating, right? Florals are all about the beauty and the feel that you have when you smell them, when you touch them, and interact with them. So I think that could be a fun approach too. So almost like the band video, like just a real cool, fashion-forward session for them.
Yeah, yeah.
So that could be you achieve that with some really cool lighting, boom, like we got here for us, depth of field, composition, and then, obviously whatever their branding and their color is. If they have specific colors, you can weave that in. So it's hard to do this in like a minute, but there's a lot of things that you're kind of trying to check as you're going through, a brand story.
Yeah. As you were describing that, I was thinking of something, we mentioned a little while ago, my daughter, Emma, who's a photographer, who has worked with you, she's assisted you in here and there, so you know who she is.
Yeah, she's
And
awesome.
she's going up with me to our wedding this weekend to capture some content. When she was first getting into photography, I told her some things that I had learned from some people who were, way smarter than me over the years. And the phrase that I kept, that I in my own life keep coming back to in every aspect of my life, and this is a lesson I imparted on her, was you have to find your creative voice. And your creative voice can be applied to anything. Your creative voice can be applied to how you parent your kids. Your creative voice can be applied in how you decorate your house,
Right.
and how you run your business, how I on stage perform. This is easy for somebody like you. Your creative voice, it can be seen in the style of pictures and videos you create. So as you were describing that, if I was a designer, or if I was, like the producer, I would think that maybe, and tell me what you think of this, showcasing the designer and helping them communicate before you're even showing anything that they have actually created, like any installs or any floral displays or anything.
Right.
Just helping communicate who they are and what their creative voice is. The reason I brought up Emma is I always told her, you need to reach a point where when somebody looks at a photo, they say, oh, that's an Emma Rafferty photo. I know that. Versus,
Right.
that's a beautiful photo that any relatively experienced photographer with a good, 70 to 200 lens could have taken. You've got to figure out how the composition and the lighting and the angle and all of the content
Right.
works, so somebody knows that's an Emma Rafferty. That's a Killer Creations video. I've seen it. I know it. No one does it like them. Or in the case of this, the florist, or the designer, before you even show their work, talking to them one-on-one about what is their creative voice and how do they approach a problem and how do they design things to be different every week. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know. What do you think about something
I
like
like that. That's great. So that's that could be done through some of the like an interview style, or literally having them almost write their mission statement or their vision statement out, and then we can pull that out and say, okay, great. There's two ways to do it. We're going to interview you, or you're going to say it. But sometimes when you say it, it can sound a little too salesy. So you want it in an interview style where it's kind of being pulled out versus pushed out, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
But
that
that's
makes
a great
perfect sense.
a great little insight, because you definitely, as the person in the video telling your story, you want your creative vision being shown. You want people to understand why you're different than everyone else who says they're just like you, right?
Yeah. Okay, so I just had an I want to shoot. I want you to create that video for me as the owner of E3 Detroit.
Oh,
as
gosh.
To, why we're, why our acts are more unique and a better fit for people than our providers.
I think we've been working on that for years, right? We're always doing that for you guys. But yeah, I think you have a awesome personality. People love being around you. So bringing that out, whether it's you on stage or your groups on stage, you have a certain level of expertise, right? That you make sure that all your groups are at. So that's just, I always used to say, like, you talk about branding, like that's the obvious thing, right? Like Coke isn't saying, Coca-Cola, by the way, isn't saying we have a sugary brown liquid. Come buy it, right? They're selling the experience, the
Have a
feeling,
Coke and a smile.
yes, that connection, the family, whatever it is. Because if they actually said this stuff is cancer-causing garbage, no one's going to buy it. So you don't tell the truth. You create something around it. So if they can sell that, and it's shouldn't even be fit for human consumption, when you have an awesome product.
Hey, how do you really feel?
When you have an awesome product like you do, it's a little easier to sell because you love what you do, which is one thing that may be different than people at your level, because they've been doing it for so long. People get burned out. They're angry about it. Oh, I'm trapped in this. I just got to keep going. Like you hear that from people, whether it's this industry or any other creative industry, or even corporate world, right? Oh, I've been, people who shoot corporate only say, oh, I wish I did more stuff this way. Or people who do events only say, I wish I did stuff that way. So a good mix. I'm getting on a tangent here, but
No,
I
it's
think
all right.
just pulling off your your creative vision, right, for who you are, what you do. And like, if you were the main subject, kind of positioned as the guide to show off all of your groups or E3 as a whole, as a brand, I think that'd be kind of cool. And then obviously you need a lot of beauty shots of all of the band's groups, artists doing what they do. Some really fun party shots, because you guys always create an awesome atmosphere. But I think a cool angle would be that not only you're selling to clients, but also to other event props, right? Because you guys, we play nicely with everyone, right? You guys play nicely with people. Like, you help the other people even lift them up, right? So it's not like you're just this, all right, there's a videographer who wants to plug into your board. You're like, nope, sorry. You're like, all right, got a cable run. Here you go, plug in, 5 minutes till speeches happen. So showing that bit of interaction and connection is huge versus, just the obvious sugary stuff. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes perfect sense. And that's
So then
kinda,
I
think we're on
take
the
all
same
this
page.
mental brain dump, because I can visualize the shots as I'm talking about them and all this in the pre-production, and roll it into some words on a paper, and that helps clarify it for clients.
Yeah. Well, and I want to add to this as your client, and you've done many videos for me over the years. You guys are really good. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, anybody can get, a good 70 to 200 lens and, shoot something from far away with a really blurry background and be really sharp in the image, but the angle with which you take and knowing when to, cut from one shot to another and be able to tell a story, craftfully tell a story, I think is really where having a good promo video is key. And I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. This is where I would say the difference between, us holding our phone and shooting our own content throughout the day,
Right.
which has a place, right? But that's the difference between documenting or capturing and telling a story. And I think you
Yeah.
have to have a piece that if you're high end or you're striving to be high end and you want the bigger clients and you want to be, or your market is saturated with a lot of people who do what you do, you have to be able to, well, you have to have a story and you have to be able to tell that story. And that's where your product, this promo video material, that's the only tool that can truly, because you could say, well, my website tells my story. Well, your website, has a lot of information,
Right.
but your website should have that video on it to tell.
It's
the
part of the
story.
puzzle, right? Yeah, that's the newspaper, and then all of those other things are the little articles and
Yeah.
interesting tidbits about who you do and what you do.
I have one more for you before we move to the final.
Oh
segment.
my gosh!
Before we move to the final segment, which will be what to do with the video once you got it. Okay.
Now what?
Venues. How does a venue? What type of promo video would you create for a venue? Now, the context is a couple, who are getting married, or a corporate event planner have 5 to 10 venues that they've narrowed down to just through, online presence for their big event, let's say for their
Right.
wedding. But now they need something that helps them differentiate between these 5 venues. How do you tell the story for them? If you're a venue that's watching this podcast right now, what should they be thinking about if they want to create a baller promo video that separates them from the other places?
Yeah, I think so. We've had the chance to do some pretty cool promo pieces for various venues in town. So thanks for trusting us out there. I think that's a huge one too, because having been someone who was at one point searching for venues to see, they have some okay photos that they took on a cell phone, right? Or some photos that a photographer gave them that shot at an event, which is great. Those is all part of it. But like something that's a little more immersive that almost gives you like a real estate walkthrough. Like there's real estate photos on Zillow, and then if you've ever seen like, random scrolling because I get everything video, a luxury home real estate video, like how it like, oh my gosh, this looks literally like it's just setting up a scene to start a movie, right?
Yep.
That is what they should be going for. If that's Survive, right? I think if you want an elevated product, you have to have an elevated look that goes along with it. So, having a good video that gets some really creative shots to show off the space empty, to show off the space well lit, to show off the space full and in action is super important. A lot of times it's just, I think that's the one where just basic videos hurt the most because it doesn't give that super luxy feel. I don't want to call out any specific venues out there, but there are some really cool places that could use some new stuff. So the path that we have done in the past, with some specific people we've worked with was basically, all right, we need to shoot the space empty. We want to shoot some time lapse of it getting set up. We want to shoot it full. And then we kind of want to have somebody talk about it a little bit, right? And then you have all the pieces to cut together there. A lot of times the inverse has to happen. They're like, hey, we're having this event. We want you to just show up and shoot it and then make something cool for us. And that's not really a promo video. That's like, I would call like a recap video that you can use to promote something that happened there. It's a little bit different than having us do some pre-production, some brainstorming, actually figure out how we can show the space in its best light versus, come capture this thing and now just make that thing look real cool, right? Big difference. Difference in pricing for sure. And time involved, but also the final product's going to be way different from show up and shoot something and make it a quick little recap to let's create something that tells our story.
Okay, you just touched on something, and if any venue owners, operators, managers, marketing people are watching this, you just hit on something inadvertently that is a gold mine of information. My feed on Instagram and my Facebook Reels and stuff, I get tons of these bad ones too, but I see a lot of the well-produced, high-end luxury real estate home tour videos.
Right.
With the style of drone that now can, fly like this versus just this going through the home, and then the motion blurred sweeping transitions from room to room, those effects, the color grading, all these things. And that video is being made for a one-off transaction that realtor is trying to, yes, they make good money on selling that house, but still it's a one-off transaction.
Right.
If that amount of effort and time and money is being put into creating these videos for a house that is going to get sold once and then it's
Yeah.
done, and that's the only time that video is
Great
used.
point.
Why isn't every venue that hosts events, that can host an event every day, why don't they have every single venue? If I was a venue owner and operator, foreshadowing, I would immediately have you come in and produce the most unbelievably amazing venue tour of that space to make it look awesome and better than
Yeah.
everybody else that I could possibly, even get my hands on.
Right.
Why that's not every venue?
That's a
right
huge,
now, I don't know.
huge, I guess, an awesome observation and incredible point too, because some people, like, we've been contacted and they're like, oh yeah, we'd love to do something like this. And then we give them the price and they're like, oh, that's way too expensive. Can you just cover an event and make it cool? You're like, yeah, okay, but it's not going to be what you want. It's not going to give you impact. It's just going to give you something that fills up your feed for 10 minutes until you post something else on your, cell phone. So huge. That's cool. Like, I'm going to use that. Like, literally, like, this person's selling the house once.
Yeah.
Done. They're spending $4,000 or $5,000 on this video, and then they never use it again. But it made them the profit. Most venues don't have anything even remotely close to what a really cool real estate video would have. So
Yeah.
come on, venues, let's get it together. We're here to help.
I want to come work with Killer Creations and help sell these.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, and then for venues, the other thing I would do, and obviously, seems like I think about this type of thing a lot for some reason, right?
Yeah, right. I
You know,
wonder why.
how a venue could be marketed properly. But I think there's so much that goes into the experience that a venue can create for their clients. Things that they don't even sometimes know about, the way a venue works with the vendors that are loading in and how easy they make the experience so that those
Totally.
vendors can make the experience better for the guests. The way that they accommodate little things. How often you're saying, no, we don't do that, or we don't do it that way, versus saying, let me figure out how to do that for you. An interview style
Yeah.
cut into the amazing tour where you tell somebody just how unique of an experience you are going to create for them. I think to me it's a no-brainer. Any venue who's worth their weight, it should be thinking
Yeah,
about
that's
doing something
great. Like,
this.
it's all about that experience, right? Not just, hey, here's showing off the thing without any emotion attached to it is like that, bubbly, sugary liquid. Like, hey, we sell bubbly, sugary liquid. That's the analogy. But that experience changes things. For us, I think one of the coolest, I guess, compliments we get is when people, obviously they love, okay, we love our photo and video. Cool, great. You were supposed to do that. You were supposed to love it because that's what we're doing for you guys. But when they say we made the day more effortless, that we made them feel more comfortable, more at ease, the date was actually better because we were there, because they were freaking out, but our calm presence of the team helped reassure them. We did this. We are like a groomsman or a bridesmaid. We're tying guys' ties. We're putting on boutonnieres, literally fixing stuff. And I know planners do all that stuff too, but as a photo and video team, that's what we're there. We're there to serve and bring a better experience above and beyond just, hey, we captured that photo and it looks real cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the coolest thing. Like, I'll get people, whether it's me or another one of my team, you get a follow-up email saying, hey, these guys were so great to work with. We had such an awesome time. Their personalities, their presence, super cool. So thank you, team. Love you guys. You do awesome work. But that's the coolest compliment for me, right? Because the default is do good photos. After that, I think that's step one, like on the ladder of like 20 things.
That's like, as we say, that's landing the plane without crashing.
Yes. we want to
Great.
be a
Minimum
little,
expectation.
we want to be better than that.
Yeah. Okay, we are going over time, but this has been such a great conversation. And any event prof who is trying to grow themselves, their company, their career, they're establish their branding in a more positive, solid way, should be considering how to integrate and implement promo video, high-end promo video, for their business. The last thing I want to talk about, and I know we're going to go over a few minutes, but is once you have the video, it's done, right?
Right.
And typically it's going to be in the format like this, not like this, right? So landscape versus portrait. So you got that video.
Right.
What do you do with it? This is where I want you to talk a little bit about. There is putting it on YouTube, on your company's YouTube, not you, but whoever
Right.
the video's for.
And you should have a
channel.
YouTube if you don't.
Yeah.
because if you don't, you're not being found by Google because Google owns YouTube, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that they should be doing there. So put it on YouTube, start a YouTube channel, and just keep pumping everything you put anywhere on YouTube. Okay.
Whole nother topic for conversation for another
Right.
episode. Utilizing YouTube as an event professional. Secondly, having it on your website, which may be kind of the same thing if you're embedding a YouTube video, but you don't have to put it on your website just because you have it on YouTube, right? So
Right.
YouTube website. Then on sending links in sales emails, pushing the video to
Right.
clients versus waiting for them to find it, and then clips on social. I think so that's kind of the answer to the question of what do you do with it. But
Yeah.
what would you add as a video professional that maybe I didn't hit on? Once you have a promo video, how do you make sure it does everything it can for you?
Yeah, so you need to use it, like you said. Get it anywhere and everywhere you can. If you got Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, get it up there, post it at the top so it's fixed so people can see that reoccurring message, right? Sometimes, I don't know what they say, you have to see a message
3 times.
3 times, 10 times, 12 times, whatever it is before you even pay attention to it, right? So that needs to be in people's faces. The next step is you could push it through ads. You could push it these other ways through retargeting. That's other topics that we can talk about later. But like you said, yeah, if it's on YouTube and not on your website, you got a problem. You want it on both. Let's see what else. I liked that you said you should be sending it out. It should be in a link. It should be in a well-presented email when you're sending stuff out, not just like, here's a bunch of words. We spent a bunch of money on this cool video, but now you can't even watch it until you accidentally stumble upon it somewhere. It should be in there. Like, check this out. We're so proud of how amazing our place looks. We want you to see this video, And that video needs to answer those questions, right? The main couple questions those clients are going to ask.
I have a question for you. So, I will humbly say, I mean, I'm a hobbyist, you're a professional, but I'm pretty good at doing video. I have pretty good gear. I can produce
Yes, you are.
decently
And
good.
you have amazingly creative ideas there, Derek.
Hey, thanks. Which is not the point of I'm trying to make. I'm just saying.
You're also really handsome.
Stop it. I can produce, it's like some video, but most people don't necessarily have the ability to do that. I did a video where I did it's called the 7 Tips for Hiring Wedding Entertainment. And I did this video just like this, looking at the camera with a cool background, where I went through and I educated a prospective client on 7 different things they should be thinking about, considering, and working on to make and asking of prospective providers to make sure they get the best entertainment. And it's on my YouTube channel, but then we send that link after every inquiry comes in. In our reply, that link is in that email. Now, to the point you just made, everybody should have a video of some sort like that, talking about your process, talking about how you make, this is different than your promo video, right?
Right.
This is a sales video, why you should hire from us. And again, the point I was trying to make is I can make decent videos there, but could somebody that's watching this, could you say emphatically, yes, we as Killer Creations can, reasonably help you create content like that? Because I think most people would feel like, oh, okay, that's probably like, it would be way too expensive to, just to sit on a stool and talk to a camera and have it done. But I feel like what you could do for somebody visually would be so, it would look so much better, going back to your analogy about the real estate videos. The lighting would be perfect, the angle would be perfect, the camera would be, the lens and all that. Is that something that people should be able to say that, yes, they could reasonably do working with somebody like you to create content like that?
Yeah, totally. I'd say, if you're serious about growing your business, like let's say you're brand new and you have no advertising budget and you have nothing put aside, make all the videos yourself. Do it to the best that you can. And then once you outgrow that, do it again to the best you can. Or now save some money for somebody else to do it. Or maybe you have a friend and, beg them to do it and pay them a little bit. But we can absolutely help you tell your story. So that's what we do, whether it's in weddings or events or working with small businesses all over the place, is helping people tell the story. And then it's really a piece of evergreen content, so to speak. That's one of those buzzwords, right? That it can be used until you make a seismic change in your business or personality or, business model, really. So you can utilize it. Some people I know, in just like looking at sites regularly, have stuff that's like 10, 15 years old, and maybe you don't want that anymore because now you are gray and have no hair, and like, who's that other guy out there that was doing it? So you want to keep it up and keep refreshed, but generally once you make something like that, it's going to be able to be utilized for a long time. And you now with a cell phone can even cut little bits and pieces out of it on your own if you don't want us to do it, to make it social media friendly, so to speak. But that's
Yeah.
part of some things we do. But just get started, get out there and get your story told, right? Because if you're
Yeah.
not telling your story, you're not getting any emotion attached to it, you're not going to stand out.
Yeah. Okay. That was a great place to stop. And I know this sounds a little sales pitchy, but if any event profs out there, even if they don't think they can afford it, would you welcome a phone call or an email for them asking you, to get that conversation started and see if it's,
Of course, right? No, I'm going to turn away business. But like I always say, there's a lot of ways we can customize things, right? So not everyone needs exactly what we have. We have some built-out collections, but that's a starting point, a conversation starter. And then you can, whether it's like the wedding world, like, okay, you're having a 4-hour wedding, but most of our collections are 8. Doesn't mean we can't do it, but we're going to have to talk to you about it, right? We need to talk to figure out what exactly you want so it can fit. We always say it's got to be fair for everybody. But anything we do, sales pitch is going to be above and beyond what you expect, ideally. We don't want to meet expectations, like you said, and land the plane without landing gear down. We want you to say, holy cow, these guys blew it out of the water.
Yeah.
Even though we did this little video and it's way better than we thought. They put more energy, time, and effort into making it the best they possibly could be.
Yeah. So the lesson there is if you're an event professional and you're trying to grow your career, and that's what this podcast is about, helping, us do it, helping our friends and colleagues do it, is that promotional video in many different forms is one of the best tools you could possibly have to help you do that. And even if you don't think you have the budget for it right now, get a conversation going with a professional, whether that's Mike and his team or somebody else, and start talking about like what that would be, because you could start setting priorities and goals and which one
Exactly
you want to knock
right.
off the list first.
You don't have to do it right today. You could say, hey, cool, let's do this next year. By next year, we're doing a full rebrand anyway, and we'll get to that point. Or at least you can put a roadmap out there. And don't stop doing all the other videos, the cell phone videos. Don't stop. But, like we said, this is part of the puzzle. You need more than just, like if we just did only super cool polish videos, it would be different than some of the things I'm being forced to do in front of the camera now and talk to people. Like you get a little bit of insight into who we are as a team versus just the final work. So both of those things need to be done. But if you're missing one or the other, it can be maybe slowing you down just a little bit.
Yeah.
Also talking to myself here.
Yep. There you go. What an awesome episode. This is officially our longest episode ever. We've gone 1 hour and 7 minutes, which we always say we stay under an hour, so we apologize for going long. But if you're an event prop and you're
Watch it at 1.5 speed.
Yes, yeah, that's actually a good point. If you're an event prop and you're watching this, chime in. Do you have promo video? How has it worked for you? What have you done to from one iteration to the next? How do you change? And what tips or advice would you give another event professional or any service provider for that matter,
right,
on how to implement promo video into your career to make things better? Mike, I'm going to be missing you a little bit over the next few weeks, but hopefully we'll find a way to get you in because you have a lot of work coming up.
A lot of travel. So I'll be off and about, jumping on airplanes all over the country. So hopefully we can get some while I'm there, but we'll
do our best to get you
do
in
our
here.
best. Yeah.
If not, I'll see you back in a few weeks. I'll keep it going. We got some guests coming up, and the podcast goes on, baby.
Podcast goes on. The show must go on.
You got that right. Hey, man, always fun to talk to you. Thank you for earlier this week for putting this video together. It was awesome. And until the next time, baby.
Awesome.
Let's keep
Love
it rolling,
Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Survive.